sont dits partout.
What's going on there, jerk faces? It's your boy Andy, and you're watching Nocturnal Transmissions, brought to you by the Circle of Jerks podcast. It's our weekly live stream where we talk about the news, current events, and of course our movie review. Seeing it is the start of December, we are starting a new theme this month, and that theme would be Winter Wonderland. So, that to look forward to. And of course, tonight's movie will be Snow Trail from 1947, starring Toshio Mifune, and not directed by Akira Kurosawa, but he did write the screenplay, I believe.
He was uncredited as a director too. Like him and the director worked together both on the screenplay and directing.
Right, so you have that to look forward to. But yeah, with me as ever is the homeboy Rob.
What's going on, everybody?
Lots of things going on. Maybe not of greatest import, but things are going on.
Yeah.
Just a little show note that it'll only be for 2 weeks. So next week will be the last stream that we do for this year, because we'll be going on our 2-week break.
Well, we do a couple episodes that will help tide you over during the break. We have our annual Christmas review with Santa Claus.
Yeah, because we're tight like that.
We're going to be doing a Christmas Carol, and or Muppets Christmas Carol, by the way.
Yes.
But we'll talk. We'll talk to all.
Yes, and of course Rob's got the plague.
Yeah, I'm gonna die. We're gonna talk all things Christmas Carol, but specifically the Muppets Christmas Carol, and we're also gonna be talking about The Thing from Another World, and comparing and contrasting that to John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982 with a special guest. So that's or a returning special guest. So that's going to be a lot of fun to do as well.
Yeah. So so you got stuff to look forward to. All right, we're not going to leave you hanging. As we go on our much-deserved 2-week break, because we really don't take any breaks, on this channel.
You take your fishing breaks, but outside of that,
every once in a while, I go fishing with my dad or whatever, but throughout the year we don't really take breaks. So we won't leave you guys hanging in terms of content.
Yeah.
So you have that to look forward to. But before we dive in, per usual, let's do a little catch up and find out what's going on in each other's lives. Rob, why don't you regale us with
Well, it is it is Christmas season, so I am grinding myself to the damn bone working. I just had a 12-hour shift today. I worked on Saturday. It's just been kind of a crazy time at work. Other than that, I've just been kind of getting prepared, finishing up the reviews for this month that we're going to be doing for Winter Wonderland. So I've been enjoying those movies. I actually also jumped into, I haven't watched a lot of more of the television shows much recently, except I started diving into the Amazon original Jack Ryan series with John Krasinski, and I'm really liking it a lot. I don't know why I just find it very fascinating, and I do like a good spy show or a spy movie, and it's kind of scratching an itch a little bit. I just finished up the first season yesterday. I'm into the second season now, and I like the all the casting. I like they did first season was pretty good. I know some of the criticism on the first season was like, oh, they're trying to make it, the villain seem sympathetic. But when you actually watch the series, it's like, yeah, they're giving you his perspective. They're showing you like what he's gone through, but you don't feel sympathetic for him. It's like, yeah, like okay, I'm sorry that you went through this, but you're still a fucking asshole, and you deserve to die, and that's what happens. It is very satisfying.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen. So I did because I am current on the whole Jack Ryan series, but it's been a while, so I don't quite remember, and maybe that's a bad thing in terms of for that show. But in terms of like performances, yeah, I like the casting. I like John Krasinski as Jack Ryan.
Pretty damn good.
He's a John Krasinski. He's very relatable.
He is.
Or
He's a good everyman.
he plays very relatable.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly, and that's why I like him.
yeah. As
It's
well as who's the guy that they got for gosh the black one, the black character.
the guy that plays Jim Greer.
The one
I
initially played by James Earl Jones.
I always forget his name.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff.
have you ever watched The Wire?
Yeah. He's the
Yeah, he was in The Wire. And that's why
exactly.
I never.
I forget the actor's name though.
He is brilliant. I love him as an actor. I think he's great. Fucking forget his name every time though. But I like his smart ass attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. He's a smart. He's a very capable and smart guy,
Mm-hmm.
but he's also a smart ass, and I like that.
Oh, Wendell Pierce. That's
Wendell Pierce, yeah,
yeah.
okay, yeah, great actor. He's a lot of and I like the the actors that played the villains in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot of Arab guys to play these characters, which it felt authentic. It's I mean that's like what people want. Like you want your representation and all that. And I think they. I mean, I don't give a shit about that. I liked Alec Guinness playing an Arab in
Oh, yeah,
Lawrence of
Lawrence of
Arabia.
Arabia. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And he played a
and
Soviet Russian in Doctor Zhivago.
no, okay. I see. I have yet to watch Doctor Zhivago. I did not know that he. Fuck.
Yeah,
Another.
it was like last year, and it just happened to be playing on one of the movie channels on on my cable thing, and so I was like, oh, and then it's like, and I saw Alec Guinness. It's like, oh, Alec Guinness.
We'll have to cover that at some. Maybe we'll do a Russian month. We'll do a Russian movie
Dude,
month
we
or
should
what.
just do an Alec Guinness month.
I mean, I'd be down for that because we still haven't done the Bridge over
Yeah,
River Kwai and stuff like
sure.
that.
Yeah, we did follow the Roman Empire.
Yep,
Um,
and we did. He was in Ben Hur.
yeah,
Uh,
and we did Lawrence of Arabia, but
we
yeah,
did.
some more of his back catalog stuff.
Yeah, because he's done other things besides playing Obi-Wan Kenobi,
I
guys.
know.
Um, but yeah, no, I ended up liking the Jack Ryan series so far. I'm enjoying it. Now, here's the other thing. Like, would you when you think of like because we have a lot of Jack Ryan movies. Obviously, he's a very famous like book series,
Yeah.
very famous character. How does John Krasinski rank as far as your Jack Ryan portrayals in cinema or in
Yeah, portrayals. I think he's pretty. I think he's pretty high up there. Um, I haven't. I know it's sacrosanct, but I haven't seen the Harrison Ford portrayals of Jack
What?
Ryan. I know. I know. Um,
Oh
and I-
my
and I
god!
know that like those are like latter year Jack Ryan, and I'm told like they're the best.
They're awesome. Oh man, that's
So I can't really say, but if I off the ones that I have seen, um,
so.
the bottom one for sure is Ben Affleck. I'm sorry. Okay,
I have
Ben Affleck was not a very good Jack Ryan.
I haven't seen that one.
I have, but
I haven't seen Hunt for Red October in a very long time. So
mhm.
essentially, like I haven't seen it in a
Well,
while.
yeah. Well, I okay. I have even though I don't like him as a person, I have to give it to him as an actor for his portrayal as Jack Ryan, as kind of like the greenhorn. You know, almost it's almost like Die Hard, where it's just like he's kind of over his head because he's just like this the way he's portrayed in Hunt for Red October. He's not field personnel whatsoever. I mean, I know in the latter, particularly in the Chris Pine iteration of the character. He's kind of like this, he's like this nerd. He's kind of like this nerd, but he's a very capable nerd. Like he knows tradecraft and everything. Um, but like as like the I think what the character's essence was supposed to be is just like this cubicle guy who puts this thing together and is put into like this situation where he's like completely over his head. I think he does it the best, and so for that reason, I have to give Alec Baldwin the number one spot for now until I watch the
Oh wow, okay.
subsequent Harrison Ford iterations.
See,
Um, then
Harrison.
I have to give it a tie for second to Chris Pine's take on iteration and then John Krasinski's iteration because I like them both for different reasons. Um, because John Krasinski's take is relatable, but then he's still capable, and but then as opposed to the Chris Pine one where um, he's capable, but then he still tries to play it like he's like over his head, but he's not really.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a month of
Yeah,
of
and then
us.
so this is this is just my tentative ratings right now because again I have to watch the what is it, Clear and Present Danger
There's
and
two. There's two
yeah,
Harrison Ford.
there's two Harrison Ford ones, Clear and Present Danger and I think Patriot Games.
Yeah, I think Patriot Games first, and then it's
Mm,
Clear Present Danger is
I
the
see.
second one.
Hmm.
I haven't seen the second one. I did watch the first one. It's fucking fantastic, and I love Harrison Ford in that role. It he fits that role to a T.
Hmm.
Because he's like a little bit more the grizzled veteran
Right. Yeah, you're
at
right.
that point.
Patriot Games came out first, and then Clear and Present Danger.
Yeah. Like I said, I need to rewatch Hunt for Red October.
Hmm.
And say what you will about Alec Baldwin, I think he's a shitty person.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
The guy is a great actor. I can't deny that. I tend to like the movies that he's in. Like that and The Edge,
Hmm. He's an
and
asshole in that too.
he's a fucking dick in that movie. Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Yeah. So yeah,
But
that's my tentative list. Alec Baldwin, tie maybe I give the edge to John Krasinski, so he might be second, and then Chris Pine be third,
I haven't seen the Chris Pine or the Ben Affleck one.
and then Ben Affleck one is last. It just wasn't.
It wasn't your cup of tea.
Yeah, it just wasn't my cup of tea. And also the plot was kind of. I think because they were still writing kind of like the Soviets are the bad guy kind of thing.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
Well, I mean, technically, that's what the Chris Pine's take does too. But
Well,
I
and you
don't
could
know.
also argue that's also what the Hunt for Red October is about.
What
I
was
don't
that?
Hunt for Red October kind of deals with it's the Soviets. That's
Right,
the other.
yeah, and it was and interestingly, and I know we're getting off into tangent, but it's interesting because what is it? Sean Connery, he initially turned down the role because he didn't want to do because it was past the when this movie came out, it was 1991 or something, or 1990, and the collapse of the Soviet Union already happened, and it's like, oh, why do we have to go back and drudge up old rivalries or whatever, and they're like, oh, no, this happens in the past. So he's
Yeah,
like, oh, okay. So then that's what convinced him to do this movie.
yeah. And I mean, he's really the star of the show in that movie.
Oh
But
yeah, dude. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, he plays a Russian so convincingly.
God, he does. But yeah, no.
All right, Robert's dying,
All right.
but he just loves the stream too damn much to not be to do it.
Yeah, but yeah, no. I was just that might be a interesting month to do at some point, just to see
Yeah, hey, just
what's
tackle
the
all
best.
the Jack Ryan movies.
Yeah, because I think it's an interesting character.
Mhm.
I actually have never read the books. I actually want
Yeah,
to.
I think my cousins were really into it, and I think one of my older cousins, he actually has the book series of all of maybe not all, but most of all
There's
the
a
Jack
lot of them,
Ryan
aren't
movies.
there? There's like 10 of them or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Although I did hear that in an interview with Tom Clancy, the ultimate trajectory for the career trajectory of Jack Ryan is eventually to become president.
Oh wow, is he still alive or is he dead?
I think he's still alive.
Who was it of like the? Because there was another guy. Was it John Grisham that passed away? I mean, one of these guys wrote like kind of like these a bunch of these like type of novels. He ended up like dying recently.
Hmm.
I can't remember who it was.
Oh well, I mean, yes, Tom Clancy is dead. He died in 13.
Okay, so it was Tom Clancy that died.
Yeah.
I didn't make that up. Okay, good. Yeah, that would be interesting. I would like to see, knowing that that's what Tom Clancy was wanting to do with the character. I would like to see, kind of like similar to,
Yeah, John Grisham's still alive, apparently.
yeah, with Jack, not Jack Reacher,
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan. I'm mixing up characters now.
Yeah.
The I would like to see something like movie wise, like kind of like what Tom Cruise has done with Ethan Hunt in the Mission Impossible movies,
Mhm.
because you could kind of have that style of movie with that type of franchise where you have a guy, it's kind of starting from like his early in his career and like going through these missions and like becoming like this type of character into becoming the president and like kind of dealing with issues there.
Mhm.
And I think that would be very fascinating. And maybe that's what they do with the Amazon series. That would be kind of interesting because it's in its third season,
Or
and
going in? Is it in its third season? Is it going to be in its third
I
season?
think
Or
I know there's 3 seasons. I don't know about a fourth. Like I said, I'm just starting out with it now.
right.
Um, let's see, Jack Ryan. Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna do another season of that. I hope they do because, like I said, I like. Well, was it the season 3 just started? So
Mm.
I assume that it's going strong. If this season does well, they'll probably do a fourth season.
Hmm.
And like I said, I like John Krasinski. I think he's great in the role. He brings a like you said, a relatable element to the character.
All right. Oh yeah,
He's
it's
like the
yeah. The season 3 is premiering the 21st this month.
yeah yeah. So
Yeah.
it's hasn't started yet, but it's gonna start. So um, I'm kind of glad I'm starting the series now, so that way I'm ready to start season 3 when it does debut.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of like what I've been doing this past week. Because I was wanting to. There's a few Amazon series that I was like, okay, this sound. I know everyone's been talking about these and they sound fun. Jack Ryan was one of them. The Terminal List with Chris Pratt, I wanted to watch. The Boys, I've also heard is really good.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I for some reason like I'm such a contrarian that like if people tell me to watch something or like it's like really popular and big, like I just don't. I just somehow actively or actively subconsciously actively not watch it.
I refuse to watch the Lord of the Rings series
Well,
because
yeah. I'm just not giving that series the time of day.
and
But
hey,
like,
if people like it, great. That's if
right,
that's
yeah.
that's what makes their heart warm. I'm happy for them.
Mm.
But I checked out when because I fucking hated The Hobbit. I thought it was awful, and I watched because I didn't watch the whole trilogy. I watched the first one. I was like, nope, I'm out.
Mm.
I liked the original trilogy. The Hobbit should have been one movie, maybe two, maybe two. Um,
Yeah, but they can't do a trilogy for one and not the other. I mean, even though I know it's just one book, but they're gonna try to milk it as much as possible.
yeah, no,
Um,
but like
but yeah.
the the actual Lord of the Rings trilogy, I liked a lot.
Mm.
They did Peter Jackson did a fantastic job. The actors did a fantastic job. Um, the Hobbit was horrible, and it's funny because book wise, I like the Hobbit way more than
The Lord of the Rings
the
trilogy.
the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which is technically one book. The reason that Tolkien broke that up into three books is because his publisher was like, "Yeah, no one's going to be able to afford this book. Like, it's going to cost too much. You
Right,
need to
especially
split."
back in the day when it was like still hardcovers and they're making things
Yep,
like leather hardbound editions
it's
of it.
like no one's going to be able to afford this book. You
Hmm.
have to split it up. That's why there's a trilogy.
Yeah,
It was always meant to be one book.
right.
Um, but yeah, no, The Hobbit I actually like more. I think it's a fun read, and I like what Tolkien did with that. But the movie is so bad. It's terrible. That might have been, I that was one that I considered for Schlocktober. That's how
Mm,
much I really don't like it.
yeah, I mean, oh, is is Legolas in The Hobbit? No, right?
No, and now it does. So it follows Bilbo
Right,
Baggin's journey with like his like his we see his journey with like the
with the
before we see
dwarves.
like he has the ring and like like his like connection to it, and it was it's like how he came into contact with the ring and
Right.
like his journey with that.
Hmm.
So it's technically a story, the a prequel from the original story with Bilbo Baggins and
Right.
telling his story. That's what The Hobbit is about. It is really good, but that's not what they did with this fucking film. It's
All right, with
not.
the trilogy. Yeah. Like I wouldn't like. Is Gandalf in the Hobbit the book?
I want to say yes. I think he was on that journey with Bilbo, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't. It's been so long since I've read it.
Right.
I don't like I said. I
Well, I
read.
mean, yeah, it just feels like Legolas was added just because they needed like one more member berry. But
That.
I would have rather they just like like I mean, other than Gandalf, which I understand more. Uh, but if they just concentrated on like the new characters, I would have been happy. But I think the addition of Legolas was just trying too much to try and tie it to the Lord of the Rings when like you already have Gandalf, and that's already strong enough connection to the first trilogy of movies that we got. So I don't necessarily need. I think that they needed another connection to the first trilogy of movies.
Yeah, it's. I just didn't like it at all, and like I haven't read The Hobbit in going on 20 years
Mm-hmm.
now. It's been a long, long time. So, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of gone out of my memory quite a bit. But from what I remember, is like yeah, like what a lot of the shit that was thrown in the movie, it has some connection to the book, but not really. Um, and that's it's like that's what made the Lord of the Rings trilogy so awesome is because I mean, yeah, it did take elements that some of the more they couldn't put everything from the book into the trilogy,
Mm-hmm.
but damn, they put a lot of stuff in there, and it really felt like what I was visualizing as a reader in those books
Mm-hmm.
was put on the screen. It's like wow, this is exactly what I visualized.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it came to the Hobbit, it's like this is what the hell is this? And it's almost like, and I almost wonder if Peter Jackson maybe wasn't if he wasn't like super excited about the project just because like oh well people love this and people love that so I'm gonna just throw all that in there and I'm gonna bring these characters into it that have nothing to fucking do with the book. Um, and it's like it's how do you go from this to this? Like, what happened? Like, what? Because I know he loves Lord of the Rings. I mean, he's
Mm-hmm.
that's why you put he when he got that project, kind of similar how what we talked about with like they shall not grow old. You saw the passion and the love that he put into that project.
Mm-hmm.
He did that with Lord of the Rings. I don't feel like he did that with The Hobbit. I feel that
Well,
was
yeah, because he was more or less saddled with the Hobbit movies because initially it was supposed to be Guillermo del Toro that was supposed to direct, but for whatever reason, he dropped out, and so it's like, oh crap, who are we gonna get this? Who are we gonna get to direct this these trilogy of movies? It's like, oh well, why don't we just bring back the guy who made the best possibly the best interpretation of the Lord of the Rings books
easily
into movie,
easily.
and have him do it. And like they brought him in really late into the process where a lot of uh, a lot of it was already kind of like set into motion, and just like it'd be a bitch to just like stop like and start from scratch.
Oh, yeah, you know what? That makes sense.
Yeah,
That
at
makes
least that's what I'm. At least that's like the stuff that I've heard
yeah.
about the production. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure like he wasn't like I'm sure Peter Jackson wasn't that uh, interested in visiting, that particular world again. Um, and
I
again, I mean, I think it's just the like, and again, I think it's just the case of, what is it? What's that phrase? Uh, Victim of your own success. There you go.
yeah, that's definitely there. And because when he dives into stuff that like he cares about, like say what you will about his version of King Kong,
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely, even though it's not my favorite, obviously, like I will always love the original over anything.
Hmm.
You can definitely see the love that he had for the story of King Kong.
Hmm.
I don't feel like he was just doing it as like, oh well, here's a way for me to make money.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously, you want to make money. That's what the business is.
Right.
And but I watch it and I'm like, it's not bad. It's not the best, but it's not bad at the same time.
Right. And you can see that he has a real appreciation for the story, and particularly at the time when it came out.
Yeah,
Back in like the 30s, and so that's why he's had it. The movie set in that time because he wanted it, to give it that, you know, high adventure um, feel. That when particularly when like this movie came out, and so.
unlike the '70s version with Jeff Bridges and Jessica Lange,
Hmm.
that's a modern take on King Kong. '70s modern,
Right.
and that's not a bad movie either. I like that one too. It just but I do appreciate that Peter Jackson went back to kind of setting in that '30s timeline
Hmm.
to kind of like in his own way create the original, and also utilizing technology that wasn't available in the '30s,
Hmm. Exactly. I mean,
which I'm
yeah.
with.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that. He gave us a realistic scale King Kong. As opposed to like back in the 30s where, you know, King Kong's was so big that he was like as big as like the top of the Empire State Building, as opposed to, Peter Jackson, who gave us, a relatively, accurate size. Like he was big, but he wasn't like the size of the top of the Empire State Building, where he was he scaled massively, kind of like in like the stop motion stuff of like the 30s movie. Um, and yet but then the Kong in Peter Jackson's one was still like big enough to like swipe at biplanes.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. Actually, I kind of do want to go and revisit Peter Jackson. I do want to. Well, I want to rewatch the original because I really love that movie a lot.
Hmm.
I'm gonna see if I can get that on Blu-ray at some point because I watched that movie so much. It's just like I should probably own it at this point.
Of
But I
course,
do want
yeah.
to go. I do want to go and rewatch the '70s one and rewatch Peter Jackson's King Kong, and because it's one of my favorite characters, one of my favorite. I love a good monster movie,
Hmm.
and King Kong is one of the ultimate monsters of monsters.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah, I
Godzilla.
mean he's the King Kong is the American kaiju.
Exactly. I mean, he is the character the monster that inspired Godzilla. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sure,
Um,
yeah.
Now, obviously, like Godzilla would probably kick King Kong's ass. I do agree with our friend Robert Lane on that one, but I still love King Kong. He's awesome.
Yeah, I remember a long time ago. I heard, like one like a very early, well, not early, but a theory about King Kong. And of course, it's probably it's probably postmodern and like looking taking current day uh, sensibilities and applying it to olden times. But it was like King Kong, like the real allegory was interracial marriage.
Yep. Yeah, I figured that's where you were going with that. It's like,
Yeah,
of course, that's what
yeah,
people are.
interracial marriage or relationship, and like 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 how society would respond to you know uh, a black man getting with a white woman.
It's like, hello, hello, it's a monster.
McFly, yeah, McFly. Anyone in
No,
there, McFly? Think, McFly.
getting way too fucking much into that. It's like it's a monster movie for God's sakes. It doesn't have to make fucking sense. It doesn't have. It's not an allegory for anything. It too. Unless the actors and the director and the writers of that time are saying like that's what it is. It's not that. I guarantee.
I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna agree with you. All right. All
Oh
right. I know. It's stupid. I understand. It's stupid.
God, it's so dumb. Oh, then what's Godzilla an allegory of? Oh, it's like, I mean, at least there they spell out like the nuclear scare of like the
Yeah,
50s,
yeah. The atomic scare. Yeah,
the
that's
atomic age. That I mean, that's what all the fucking monster movies and like alien movies were all about in the 50s. It was the atomic
yeah,
age.
yeah.
Of
Even
course.
like yeah, that even like the day the Earth stood still, and that's an allegory of like, oh, don't kill yourselves, and is humanity ready to interact with the interstellar community? It's like,
Yes. But see, that's what they were going for. That's exactly what the directors and the writers were dealing with.
mhm.
They if you they were alive today and you interviewed them, say that. That is not
Exactly.
what's going on with fucking King Kong. Just shut up. Fucking idiots. Oh, okay. You could make that argument with the 70s version.
Mhm.
Sure. Like because maybe that's what like the writers and director of the 70s one was maybe thinking about, but the original one, and I guarantee Peter Jackson's King Kong has there fuck no, it is not. That is not what is going on. Shut up.
Yeah, shut up, imaginary people who are making Rob angry. How dare you?
Shut up.
All right. Okay, that was a good little warm up session for
Oh,
all
okay,
ago.
good. I'm angry.
Yeah, I know you're wound up. You're ready to go. Um, yeah. Today, yeah, it's kind of a loose set for today. I think the broader category, the broader topic, is bread and I titled it bread and circuses. Um,
Bread and
because
circuses.
yeah, bread and circuses. Because I mean that's essentially what we're getting.
Yeah.
Because we're being distracted from uh, by these things that don't really or like they don't really in the grand scheme of things really matter. But they're pushed to the forefront to make us think that they are super important. Um, and of course one of them was or one of them is the constant like human rights abuses that are going on in China right now. Um, due to China's very heavy-handed no COVID policy. Because apparently there was like a spike in cases, and so China like locked down hard again to the point like they're welding people inside their homes, and actually there are some very deadly consequences for that because a building caught on fire, an apartment building caught on fire, but because the entrances and subsequently the exits were welded shut, they weren't able to get out of their homes, and so a lot of people died from the ensuing fire. But yeah, the real travesty. I mean, as horrific as that is, the maybe the bigger tragedy is that that no one in the mainstream is talking about this, and no one is. And if they are talking about it, it's very they minimize it. There's like, oh, well, that's just that's China. They're China's gonna China essentially is the sentiment.
It's
Uh,
Fox News too, by the way.
yeah,
So just in case you want to hear, I don't want to hear that fucking bullshit. It's like, well, you're just a Fox News watcher. It's like I don't watch Fox News. I think they're shit too.
yeah. I mean, I only watch them because I like a rational person want to get as many different perspectives as possible. So yeah, I mean, people don't necessarily categorize Fox News as legacy media, but they are.
They are. They
Yeah, I
don't.
mean, particularly at this point, they are. It's you'd be hard pressed to say that you know that Fox News doesn't belong in the same category as CNN or MSNBC or I said CNN, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, but just, yeah, kind of like the big three. Fox is makes up kind of like the Musketeers. There are three Musketeers, but then there's also D'Artagnan, and so like Fox is like that D'Artagnan that comprises up of the
yeah.
Musketeers.
The the reason like where I wonder why when it comes to like stuff that's going on here, like obviously like we don't like we hate the Chinese government, they're terrible, but we do feel for the Chinese people, like that are stuck in this hellhole, because that's what they're stuck in. It's a hellhole. Obviously Hong Kong has been swallowed up. If we're gonna come to a point where maybe Taiwan is swallowed up too, um, and China just, and we have all these American companies that have, and America itself in a lot of ways through our politicians are invested in China. That's been happening since the fucking 70s, like, because, and that it goes back to Richard Nixon, who obviously they were wanting to, oh well, we're going against the Soviet Union, let's try to lure China away from their influence, and we're going to make them a player in the world stage. When they were on the brink of collapse, I mean, in the 70s, China, before like Mao Zedong, was when he was still alive, it's like, oh, we're gonna bring him in and we're gonna kind of, yeah, try to gussy up to him and like lure him away from communist influence, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that
I mean, yeah, a lot of people, like, a lot of history books don't cover this, but yeah, communist China, they're on their last leg. They're like like a quarter of, away from just total collapse. But yeah, but Nixon had like the bright idea of saying like, oh, let's get him, basically like a drug dealer. It's like, oh, let's just get him hooked on capitalism, and then they'll love it so much that they'll drop communism.
yeah.
And so
What
that was the first like inroads of the West, into China, and like and like the whole and the whole like globalist shift from
is
American manufacturing into Chinese manufacturing.
Yeah, his
Um,
worst mistake as president, easily.
Easily. I mean, maybe Watergate, but
No, but no, see, I don't give a shit about Watergate. Watergate is bullshit. That is
well, that's true. It was
what
very
Watergate do
yeah,
is
it was
like
very
affected.
sensationalized.
Yeah,
Watergate was very sensationalized because it wasn't necessarily the break-in; it was the cover-up.
and honestly, like I really don't give a shit about that either. Because in essence, what did that really change? What did that really affect? Nothing. Because what was happening before that is political parties were spying on the other political parties. Big fucking deal. That was already
Tale as
happening.
old as
That
time.
had been
Tale as
happening
old as time.
decades before Richard Nixon got caught with that.
Mhm.
This this is like one of those situations where, like, yeah, you do one thing, and
Right.
50 years later, it's still it created a huge problem that we're now having to face.
Right.
Where
It's
there's
what it's like we
nothing.
gave it's like we gave it's like one football team giving their opponent steroids.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is. And that's what we did. Yeah, we yeah, and that's why China has been swinging their little peckers around, like like it's 3 inches long.
Actually, what this is like. Uh, I forget the team that Dallas traded with. So essentially, like the the very infamous slash famous Herschel Walker trade back in the '90s of like where Dallas traded away Herschel Walker, who was their greatest player.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Minnesota, but I don't think that's correct. But
Okay.
essentially, Dallas got all these great prospects.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that turned into the dynasty of the '90s that the Dallas Cowboys was. They won
Mm-hmm.
like 3 Super Bowls in the '90s. That's what happened with like you make this like one seemingly like insignificant trade. It's like, oh well, we're trading away this great thing, but we're getting like little like nuggets back, whatever. Well, that's what America did. We traded away um we or actually America acquired Herschel Walker, and we gave away all these little things. Well, now China's become this great big thing, and now they're a problem. It's like we look at our society. It's like this